Hello, welcome back to SCI Teach. This is Neco 2025 Agricultural Science Practical Specimen Analysis. So we're going to look at all the specimens and then we analyze them one by one. Okay? Specimen A is Burdizzo. Specimen B, file. Specimen C, manure drag. Specimen D, granite. Specimen E, calcium carbonate. Specimen F, sieve. Specimen G, Kolanut. Specimen H, sweet potato. Specimen I, tick. Specimen J, Louse. And then specimen K, fresh meat. Okay? So we're going to analyze these specimens one by one, compare the ones we can compare, contrast them, find their features, similarities, uses, maintenance, and all that. Okay? Remember to subscribe to this channel, like and share the videos in this channel to your friends who are writing exams also, so that as we are excelling, they are excelling also. All right? Let's go. So specimen A, Burdizzo. Now, how is Burdizzo used on a farm? Burdizzo is an instrument used for castration of young male calves, lambs, and goats. Okay, by crushing the testicular cord. So that instrument Burdizzo is used mainly for castration of your calves, your lamb, your goats, cattle, and it's done by crushing the testicular cord. So this instrument Burdizzo is what is used to do that. But how is that done? So number one, you restrain or you restrict the animal in position. That's secure the animal in position. Hold the animal in position. Okay, you can use a rope or you just put it down to lie down and face sideways. Okay, but to make sure it's in a place where, as you're castrating, it won't run away, or it won't make you use it in the wrong place. So restrain the animal in a position, then clean the skin around the spermatic cord. Okay, the vast difference with methylated spirits or any other appropriate disinfectant. Clean that area. Then feel the scrotum. Just put your hand to feel the scrotum to search for the spermatic cord. All right. So palpate the scrotum to search for the spermatic cord. Then push the cord sideways in the jaws. So place the cord sideways in the pincers of the Burdizzo, the jaws of the Burdizzo. You place the cord sideways and then press the handle of the Burdizzo with the right hand to crush the spermatic cord. You press it, it crushes that spermatic cord, and then release pressure after ensuring that the spermatic cord is crushed, and then disinfect. So that treat the point of application of the Burdizzo on the animal's body, then release the animal. You've successfully castrated that animal. Then what are the other tools that can be used in place of this Burdizzo? So we can use emasculator, we can use rubber ring or illustrator, we can use electrocastrator or just call it castrator, we can use surgical blade, and we can use incision knife. Those are the other tools that can be used in place of specimen A, Burdizzo. Okay. So I've said that Burdizzo, or sometimes called Burdizzo plier, is used for castration. That is, castration is cutting the spermatic cord of the male. Okay, crushing the spermatic cord of the male. Okay, so how can we maintain this Burdizzo? Okay, clean after use or wash and dry it. Then another one, grease or oil the metal parts. Grease them and oil it, and store in a rack in a cool and dry place. Store it in a rack. Don't keep it on the ground or put it in a bag. Keep it on its rack. The rack where RACK. Then protect from termite attack. If it is a wooden handle, if it has wooden handle, protect it from termite attack. Keep it where termites can't affect. Okay? That's specimen A, Burdizzo. Specimen B is file. Of course, you know how file looks like. Okay, it's used for sharpening blade of farm tools, also for smoothing rough surfaces of farm implements. Okay, it's just the hand file, used to sharpen mostly. you should know how to describe it. Okay, files have is metallic and have teeth. Okay, those lines, those gritty teeth, which does the filing. So if you want to describe, they said describe specimen B, it's okay. It's made of, if it's wooden handle, you say wooden handle. If it's metallic all through, you say metal tool that has teeth that does the sharpening. If rectangular shape, long, describe it. But then how do you maintain it? Clean after use, wash and dry it after use. Okay, then if the handle is detachable and it's bad, replace it. Okay, always store metals and keep it in a dry place. Okay, and then paint or grease to prevent rusting of the metal parts and keep the wooden handle away from termites always. All right, specimen C is manure drag. Manure drag is that looks like fork. Okay, it's using it's a traditional farm tool. It's originally designed for use when raking up manure, right? Okay, so it's used to drag manure into the different areas of the farm and fill it up, raking manure. All right, so if you are asked to maybe define, I don't know, but the manure drag or manure harrow, if you will call it that way, is a farm implement used for spreading and incorporating manure into the soil. Okay, so it typically consists of the teeth, which are called tines, Tines, the teeth, which are they are metal prongs that break up and spread the manure. Then we have the drag bar, the frame which you hold, is a sturdy metal or wooden frame that holds the tines in place. Okay, then the hitch point is where the drag is attached to the tractor or animal. Okay, such animals can be oxen and the rest. Okay, in case you are asked which what can this manure drag be attached to, to make work faster, I don't know, to do heavy work. They can attach it to an animal like oxen. Okay, but the hitch point is where it's attached. Then the materials that are used, galvanized steel. They don't use mostly, but they can use any type of metal, but you don't want something that comes in contact with the soil, which is moist and water, to rust easily. So you use metals that resist rusting for a longer period. So like galvanized steel is mostly used. And then sometimes it has a wooden frame, the handle, the long bar is wooden for light, for it to be light, easy carriage. Okay, then like I've already said, but let's just list out the uses of manure drag for spreading manure evenly, so that it ensures uniform distribution of organic matter. All right, also for incorporating manure into the soil. Okay, it will help mix the manure with the topsoil for faster decomposition, and also for breaking up clumps. Okay, so it crushes large manure piles for better soil absorption. And then for preparing seed beds, so it can be used for light soil tillage before planting. You can use it to prepare your water leaf bed or nursery bed or whatever. And then for reducing labor, okay, makes the spreading of manure faster than manual spreading with shovels or forks. All right, but then how can you maintain it? How can you maintain manure drag specimen C? It's important to clean after use. All farm implements, clean them after use. Okay, so how do you clean? Wash off the manure residues to prevent corrosion, and then dry properly before storage. That's the cleaning. And then check for damage. Inspect the tines, those teeth, for bending. The parts that are bending more than they should bend, maybe because you'll be using it on the hard ground. Or the parts that are broken, check for all those and replace them. And then tighten loose bolts on the frame. Then also lubricate. Apply grease to moving parts if applicable, and then store them properly. Keep in a dry, covered area to prevent rust. Okay, don't take it and keep it under sun directly. Okay, just keep it where air can dry it off, or if you keep it under sun, once it's dry, take it into a covered area and keep the place dry to prevent rusting. Then what are other tools that can be used in place of manure drag? Okay, you can use manure spreader as a mechanical method. A tractor pulled machine that automatically scatters the manure, you can use that. That's if you have a large farm. You can use a disc harrow. A disc harrow can be used to mix manure into soil. though it's not ideal for spreading, but can also be used. Then broadcast spreader is used for granular fertilizers, but can spread dry manure. So broadcast sprayer can also be used. Hand tools like pitchfork can be used. Shovel can be used to manually spread the manure. You can also use garden rake, normal garden rake, for light manure incorporation. All right. So that's specimen C. Specimen D is granite. Granite. Okay. If you see granite, you should know how it looks like. You see it on your screen. And when you see it in your exam hall, you should know how to describe it. Okay. So granite is classified under igneous rock. It's an igneous rock. That's its classification. It's a classified specimen. D. It says specimen D is classified under igneous rock. That's as its classification as mode of formation. Okay. And then what are the characteristics of granite? You see, it's crystalline in nature, so it contains crystals. And it's very hard. It is massive. It is impermeable to water. Water can penetrate into it. And it's highly resistant to erosion and weather elements. Okay? And then it does not contain fossils. It doesn't contain fossils. That's the characteristics. If you look at it, what should you see? And what should you observe? Those are the characteristics of granite. And then what are the ways in which the granite is economically important? What's their importance? Economic importance. It's a source of mineral. And then it can be used as grinding stone. They used it in the olden days. Those were the only grinding stones we had. You use granite to mold it, and then it grinds anything. And then it can be used for sharpening of cutlasses and knives. You see, even in the olden days, they used them too to sharpen. So it's used for sharpening cutlasses and knives. Also as bonds to prevent erosion. Okay, since water can pass through it, if you heap it in a particular place, water will stay off that area, so can prevent erosion. And then to crack hard kernels or seeds, of course you've used that before. And then for road construction in farms, granite can be used. Also for building houses, farmhouses, so you can say farm settlements if you want to connect it to farm or agriculture. And can be polished and used for decorations. Okay, it's also a source of foreign exchange. People export it, people sell it. You know, in Nigeria, it's rich. We have a lot of it in Cross River, in case you are asked somehow. Okay, Cross River have them a lot. So most of the cement factories get them from there to produce cement, limestone, and all that. So granite can be polished and used for decoration. It's a source of foreign exchange and is a source of job opportunity. Right? So those are the ways that granite can be economically important. Right? So for that specimen C, manure drag, you could be technically asked reasons for manuring in crop production. Okay, because you're dealing with manure drag. So what are the reasons for manuring? To improve the activities of soil organisms like earthworms. Okay, also to improve the structure of the soil, to improve aeration within the soil, to regulate soil temperature. It also serves as a buffering effect to improve the acid-base reaction of the soil. So it assists in regulating soil pH, and also improves water holding capacity in sandy soil, and also improves water infiltration in clay soil, and controls soil erosion. It adds nutrients to the soil, of course, so it improves the soil fertility, and then increases cation exchange capacity of the soil, and it's used for the control of nematodes in the soil. All right, that's the reason for manuring. Okay, in case you are asked. So we've done specimen A, Burdizzo, specimen B, file, specimen C, manure drag, specimen D, granite. We got into specimen E, calcium carbonates. Okay, so calcium carbonates, that's CaCO3, in case you ask what's the formula, chemical formula, CaCO3. It's a white granular mineral compound commonly used in agriculture. What is it used for? Okay, let's see the properties. The color is white or off-white, and it's fine powder sometimes or aqueous granules. It's poorly soluble in water. Okay, it dissolves better in acidic solutions, so it's poorly soluble in water. And then the sources of this calcium carbonate can be limestone. In case you're asked, what are the sources of specimen E? You say limestone, chalk, or crushed seashells. All those things that contain calcium will contain calcium carbonate, because carbon is always present in most of the compounds, right? Then, what are the uses of calcium carbonate in agriculture? It reduces soil acidity, that it raises the soil pH for optimal crop growth. So calcium carbonate will come and will help go into the soil and help the soil pH and improve the soil pH for the growth of plants or crops to be enhanced. Also, it provides essential calcium for plant cell wall development. So it goes into the soil and supplies the calcium that plants use up to grow. And it improves soil texture. So it enhances the soil aeration and water infiltration. Also neutralizes toxic elements. How? By reducing aluminum and manganese toxicity in acidic soils. And it's animal feed additive. Okay, it's added to livestock feed for bone development as a source of calcium. Okay, now when you're handling calcium carbonate, how should you do that? What's the handling of calcium carbonate? Keep it in a dry, airtight container to prevent moisture absorption. So it won't absorb water from the air and from the surrounding. Also, while applying, test the soil pH first to know the correct quantity of calcium carbonate needed to apply to that soil. Test it first so that you will know. You're not going to add too much. And then, safety precautions: wear gloves and masks to avoid inhalation, so that you won't inhale the gas from it. It can irritate your lung, can cause lung issues, can cause coughing, can cause serious problems. So it's better to wear gloves to protect your hand from the harshness of the calcium carbonate, and also to protect your lungs from the gases from it, so that it won't irritate your lungs. And then when mixing, mix with compost. Okay, or you can apply it directly to the soil, but you can mix with compost, or you apply it directly to the soil. So, but what are the other or alternative materials you can use in place of calcium carbonate? So alternative liming materials are dolomite or dolomitic lime. Okay, that's CaMgCO3 2. It contains magnesium in addition to calcium. Okay, so you can use that in place of calcium carbonate. You can also use calcium oxide. Calcium oxide, that's quicklime. It's a faster acting substance, but it's more caustic, so it requires careful handling, but it can be used in place of calcium carbonate. And then you can also use hydrated lime, calcium hydroxide, CaOH2, because that will raise the pH quickly, but it wears off the effects easily, so it's short-lived effect, but it can be used in place of calcium carbonate. Also, you can use wood ash. Wood ash is an organic alternative that is rich in potassium and calcium. Okay, you can also use that in place of calcium carbonate. So that's specimen E. Specimen F is sieve. Sieve. Okay, sieve is what is used for, separating bigger particles from smaller ones. So the smaller particles pass through the mesh size of the sieve, and then the bigger particles stay on top. So it can be used in analyzing soil texture, also for seeds. Okay, say you have a mixture of seed and sand. You want to separate the seed from the sand. You can easily pack everything, put in the sieve. As you shake it, the sand goes through the holes, and the seeds stay on top. So you can analyze soil, you can analyze seeds to ensure optimal planting conditions. Okay. Sieves are used to separate and analyze aggregates for building and paving. Okay, that's for if you want to analyze the granite. Okay, if you want specific consistency of the granite size, you can use it before building or whatever you want to do. But if you have seed crops in your farm, like the Kolanut, maybe has sand on mixed with sand, you can separate the sand from the Kolanut or whatever seeds you have using a sieve. Okay, so how would you maintain it? Clean after use, wash and dry after use. Keep it in cool, dry place that's away from moisture, and replace the wire mesh when damaged. That wire that forms the holes, replace them when damaged, or you just get a new sieve so that the particles that come out will stay consistent. All right, not much may be asked from there, but remember that you should be able to draw. Okay, you should be able to draw something that looks like a sieve, should be convincing enough. All right, you can just draw as simple as what is on the screen, and you have your full marks. And if you're asked to label, you know that net you're seeing is the wire mesh, mesh, and then maybe the metallic handle or the round metal plate and whatever you want to name it, but be able to draw whatever you're asked to draw. All right, so I move to specimen G, Kolanut. Kolanut is the seed of tropical trees belonging to the genus Kola. So it's Kola species. Primarily Kola nitida and Kola acuminata. Okay, so how do you know? The shape of Kola is oval to round with irregular lobes. It's about 3 to 5 cm in diameter, so that varies by species. And then the color when fresh is white or pale pink inside, interior, but when dried it is brown or deep reddish brown exterior. Okay, it is hard in texture is hard and woody. The outer coat is woody. All right, it tastes bitter and slightly astringent, that contains caffeine. All right, but what are the economic importance? So the uses, economic uses. For cultural significance, is used in traditional ceremonies, weddings and naming ceremonies, or so many other traditional ceremonies. You know that because it's a symbol of hospitality in many West African countries or cultures. And then it's a stimulant, so people chew them for its caffeine content. Okay, it is used in energy drinks and pharmaceuticals. And then for industrial use, it's used as flavoring agents in beverages, and it's a source of natural caffeine extraction. For aromatic value, it is grown as cash crop in tropical regions, provides shade in agroforestry systems. It's a source of income for smallholder farmers. Okay, and how do you cultivate? Okay, the growing conditions, the climate, it grows in tropical areas, so it requires high humidity. So that's a growing condition. And also the soil should be well drained and rich in organic matter. And then you propagate it mainly by seeds. It's propagated mainly by seeds. The fresh nuts, not the dry ones. The fresh nuts. And then the maintenance practice, how do you maintain? Choose the healthy mature nuts. Okay? That's seed selection. And then keep it in cool, dry place to prevent mold. And then inspect it regularly for weevils. That's your pest control. And then when processing, proper drying to prevent spoilage. And then what are the alternative crops or substitutes to Kolanut? We have coffee. It's a similar stimulant. It has similar stimulant properties. So you can use coffee. You can use cocoa. It has comparable economic value. You can use bitter cola. Okay, that's Garcinia cola. It has similar cultural uses. You can use areca nut, that's betel nut. It's alternative stimulant. You can use all this in place of cola nuts. So we've done specimen A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, remember I said materials that can be used in place of calcium carbonate, limestone, dolomite, gypsum, quicklime, wood ash, slaked lime, basic slag, calcium bicarbonate can be used in place of calcium carbonate. So we finished that, we finished sieve, we've done Kolanut. Now let's look at sweet potato, specimen H. So sweet potato, that's Ipomoe batatas, is a hexaploid species that originated in both Central and South America. Okay, it is grown for its enlarged storage roots and leaves that are harvested for human consumption. That's table stock. Also for animal feed, as a source of starch, and for industrial purposes. Okay, so it requires less fertilizer. You don't need a very fertile soil to plant that. It doesn't even need much water. So you can see why it's very important in ensuring food supply. Okay, sweet potato is a useful crop for subsistence purposes because it can be planted and harvested throughout the year in many locations, and a farmer can store roots in the ground and harvest the roots as needed. Okay, so when if to be eaten is that they are boiled, the roots are boiled, they can be baked, they can be fried, it can be even made into flour, and by drying them and then pulverize them to make flour. Okay, you can look at it in your exam hall and describe it, the color that is given to you, because I may say red now and it's white that will be given to you, or off-white, whatever. So look at it and explain. Don't say it's cyclic, it's oval to round, or it's long and cylindrical, things like that. But describe it well, and if you're asked to draw, remember the notes and the eyes. Alright? Okay, so sweet potato can be compared with Kolanut. You never know. You can compare both of them for you to differentiate, to find features that are common and all that. You should be able to do that by looking at them. You use it daily most times. Okay, maybe not daily, but you use it a lot. So you know the uses, you know how it's processed, you know how it looks like, you know the content, you know how it can be planted now. And I've told you how Kolanut can be processed also, and all that, storage and all that. So we move to specimen I, tick, T-I-C-K. Okay, what animals can tick be attached to? What animals host tick, specimen I? Cattle can host it. So the host of tick: cattle, sheep, goat, donkey, horse, dog, pig, camel. These animals can host specimen I, tick. Okay, what damages can be done by tick? All right, disease transmission, loss of blood, anemia, because they suck the blood of their host, and then body irritation, restlessness. So you have tick worry, and then reduced quality of skin or hide. So animals that you needed the skin, the quality of the skin will reduce because of the tick invading. And then emaciation. Okay, you have loss of weight, emaciate. All right, and then wound created may lead to secondary infection. The wound opened by tick while attaching itself or while being hosted can lead to secondary infection into the body of the animal. And then ways of controlling tick: quarantine the animals that have been infected by this tick. And then rotational grazing, called paddocking, use of acaricide, and then hand picking on a small scale. If the tick is not much, you can pick them and crush them slowly and you finish it. Dipping also, maybe in insecticides and whatever can kill the tick but not affect the body of the animal. And then burn infested pasture, so graze your land. And then spraying, can spray the insecticides or whatever, kill it without killing the animal. Then drenching, and then proper sanitation, change animal beddings regularly. So if ticks were looking for dirty places to hide, you're changing it regularly and it will prevent them staying and waiting for the animals. And then destruction of wild animals around the farm that can serve as alternative hosts. Okay, if there are dogs that are wild dogs around the farm, and these wild dogs will have tick on their body, and then they come around that area, it's going to one day scratch it off and keep, and it will attach to your own farm animals. So get rid of those wild animals around the farm that can serve as alternative hosts. Okay, what are the diseases that could be transmitted to farm animals by tick? They can have tick fever, they can have red water disease, that's babesiosis, and then they can have East Coast fever, that is teleuriosis, and then they can have heart water disease, they can have tick paralysis, they can have Lyme disease, Lyme, Lyme disease, and they can have anaplasmosis. Okay, so I've said to control tick, you can dip the animals in an acaricide solution, spray the animal with acaricides, rotational grazing or paddocking, burning of infested pasture, quarantining new stock before being mixed with the existing stock animals, and good sanitation practices, handpicking and destroying the ticks, and use of predators. Example, cattle egret can eat this tick out of the body of the animals. All right. Then what's the mode of transmission of this tick? Okay, direct body contacts between infested and non-infested animals, or grooming tools, the tools you are using, equipment that have been contaminated with the eggs of tick, can then transmit it to your animals. And then through infected paddock, the paddock or the pen is infected with tick, then the animals can get them. What are the ways in which tick is economically important? So the economic importance of tick: loss of farmers' income due to death of animal or low productivity. That's one. And then it increases cost of production. Remember, economic importance is not just the good things, it's good and bad, everything. Okay, so it increases cost of production. It reduces the quality of the animal products like the milk, the meat, the hide, okay, the skin, and it damages those quality. That's like the wool or the hair. Okay, it damages all this. It's a carrier of diseases causing organisms, so it's a vector. Transmission of diseases such as I've already mentioned babesiosis and teleuriosis and heart water diseases, all those ones. And it reduces the quantity of animal products, so you have slow stunted growth, reduced milk production, and others. That's the economic importance. Mostly bad. Okay, I move to specimen J, Louse, singular of lice. So what are the external features of the parasite Louse? So of course I've already said Louse is a parasite. So classify it, it's a parasite. What are the external features? It has a head, it has a thorax, it has 3 pairs or 6 legs with sharp claws, it has segmented abdomen, it has a pair of antennae, it has a pair of compound eyes, and mouth parts for biting and sucking. So it's a biting and sucking parasite. Okay, what's the effects of the louse on its host? The host becomes restless due to skin irritation, and then there is loss of appetite, loss of weight, reduction in livestock production. It causes loss of hairs or feathers. Injuries caused may serve as source of secondary infection, and it sucks the blood of host, leading to anemia, and it eventually leads to death. Now, of course, they will compare tick with louse. So keep tick with louse side by side and compare the similarity, the differences, the features, adaptation of some of the features, and all that. You should be able to do that. Watch the biology video and you'll see how to compare all this. All right, and then the last specimen K, is meat, fresh meat. Okay, fresh meat can be obtained from livestock like cattle, sheep, goats, horse, camel, cow, a lot. Okay, and the nutritional value is it supplies proteins to the body, and it supplies vitamins to the body, supplies oil and fat to the body, supplies energy to the body. That's the nutritional value of specimen K, meat. And then specimen I and J can also be compared to specimen K. They can compare tick, or not compare, sorry. Can ask you relationship between I and K. Does tick affect the quality of meat? How can lice affect quality of meat and all that? But whatever will be asked, it's easy. It's easy for you to look at it and supply answers. Now, I want you to grow in confidence. Don't depend on everything someone tells you. Don't cram. Understand something. That is not why gives you a question, not expecting you to give a particular word-to-word answer. They know people's brains are different, but the idea should be the same. So it's easy. You're given a question, you just look at the question. If they're asking you the relationship between tick and meat, I've explained what tick looks like. You've seen the picture. Then you know I've explained the conditions and what they do to animals, and then you start mentioning in your own words. As easy as that, you get your full mark. And compare Louse with tick, specimen I with J. You see, it's easy. Just use your head, look at it. What does this have that this also have? Those are similarities. How is the body segment? Are they segmented the same way? They have the same pair of legs. Those are similarities. Then what does this have that this one the other does not have? Those are the differences. With features, adaptation. Where can this one exist? Where's the habitat? It lives on the body of animals. That's another similarity. Just gain confidence in what you do so that you will not wait for someone to give you an answer. And when you do that, you see that all that you'll be more relaxed in the exam hall, knowing that you know what you're doing. And by so doing, you will excel in this exam. Okay, remember to subscribe to this channel, share this video on other videos to your friends so that they'll prepare very well for agricultural science, practical and other practical in this channel. Thank you. God bless you.